On her way to a hall, she ran into Huai Wu, who immediately started hitting on her, wanting her to be his girlfriend. Lin Shi refused, but Huai Wu wouldn't give up. Suddenly, another guy showed up and scared Huai Wu away. Seeing the familiar figure, Lin Shi thought of her haunting first love, feeling uncertain. The guy turned around, and it was actually him, Zhan Han, the man she both loved and hated. Remembering how cruelly he'd left her, Lin Shi angrily walked away. Zhan Han worriedly chased after her, leaving Huai Wu standing there alone. Zhan Han finally caught up with Lin Shi and explained, "I came to Peking University just to find you, Lin Shi. I was short on points. I did everything to be able to stand in front of you today." Lin Shi was heartbroken, but couldn't accept Zhan Han's reappearance. She told him, "From now on, we're over," and walked away without looking back. Watching Lin Shi's determined back, Zhan Han was left behind with a sad expression. The freshman orientation ceremony began. Seeing the people who appeared, Lin Shi was immediately shocked. A special admissions student at Peking University, a member of the school team in his freshman year, and a national-level athlete. It turned out that Zhan Han hadn't taken a college entrance exam that year. As the representative of the freshmen, Zhan Han became the center of attention, becoming the dream guy of every freshman girl. In a speech, Zhan Han said that attending Peking University had a special meaning to him because it represented the completion of the most important promise in his life. Hearing this, Lin Shi in the audience was deeply moved. After the welcoming ceremony ended, Zhan Han caught up with Lin Shi, trying to explain again. But Lin Shi didn't want anything to do with him. "I'm here all because of you. Why just sat on stage? I'm saying it all to you. I didn't break my promise. I came to Peking University." Lin Shi sadly asked Zhan Han about their relationship. Zhan Han said they were friends, but Lin Shi didn't want to forgive him. Lin Shi returned to the dorm, thinking back on all their memories. She unconsciously opened her computer and saw Zhan Han's competition results, realizing how hard he'd worked. "I've never seen anyone so shameless." After being rejected twice by the goddess, he still wouldn't leave her alone. He used someone else's party to confess to Lin Shi again. Lin Shi couldn't take it anymore and angrily told him, "Whether we have boyfriends or not, Huai Wu, you're not my type. I advise you, next time, don't confess to a girl in public like this. It'll be embarrassing for you and for everyone else." Lin Shi turned to leave, but Huai Wu grabbed her. He said, "Let's have a drink as an apology." Lin Shi said she didn't want to, but Huai Wu insisted. Neither of them knew how to drink much at first, but they gradually got better at it. Just as Lin Shi was feeling trapped, the handsome Zhan Han appeared. Huai Wu angrily let out a sigh. "Who are you? Were you invited?" Zhan Han replied, "Lin Shi and Xiaoman are my high school classmates. We had a rule in our high school class. Girls don't drink. If you insist on drinking, that's fine. I'll go first." He drank first, as a show of respect, getting Huai Wu drunk, then pouring him another drink. To avoid drinking more, Huai Wu took the blame for everything. Zhan Han wouldn't let him go. He had to finish his drinks. Lin Shi couldn't persuade him, so she just turned and left. But she was worried, so she asked her best friend to check on Zhan Han. That night, Xiaoman overheard in a restaurant that Huai Wu was gathering his buddies to confront Zhan Han. Zhan Han was on his way to a fight. Xiaoman quickly told Lin Shi, who tried to stop Zhan Han, but couldn't. As the two were fighting, Lin Shi arrived and scolded Zhan Han. But unexpectedly, Zhan Han said Lin Shi had broken her promise. He said, "I didn't know if I could get into Peking University, but I did it for you because I had a deep obsession." Then he walked towards her until Lin Shi fell into his arms in shock. From then on, their relationship improved. That night, Lin Shi received a text from Zhan Han. Learning he had a stomach ache from drinking, she prepared ingredients in her dorm early the next morning. It was her first time making congee, and it was for Zhan Han. The next day, Lin Shi specially delivered her love congee to Zhan Han. Zhan Han happily left after receiving it. Back in the dorm, after opening it and seeing the dark, thick, somewhat nutritious congee, he felt both happy and helpless while eating it. While Zhan Han was enjoying his congee, his roommate spilled the beans. "Actually, our little brother hasn't gotten his girl yet, but we can't just sit and watch. We should get him a big gift." Zhan Han told them to stop messing around. Unexpectedly, the next day, under the direction of a senior brother, the story of Zhan Han's feelings for Lin Shi became a hot topic on the school forum. Lin Shi angrily confronted Zhan Han, asking why he'd teased her like that. Zhan Han could only explain, heartbroken, but Lin Shi didn't accept his words. Then, unexpectedly, Zhan Han said, "I don't want to just be your high school classmate. I don't want to be just friends. Can I pursue you?" Lin Shi thought Zhan Han was joking. Zhan Han solemnly repeated, "Lin Shi, can I pursue you?" Just as Lin Shi was flustered, Qin Yu, Peking University's heartthrob, walked up. The two heartthrobs locked eyes, realizing they were pursuing the same girl. The two rivals glared at each other. Qin Yu scolded Zhan Han for making Lin Shi the talk of the whole school. Jinhan knew he was wrong and said he'd take full responsibility. Lin Shi, not wanting to be involved in their conflict, turned and left, leaving the two rivals behind. Both went to the martial arts gym. 18 matches took place. Neither was willing to lose, but they were brothers after all. They reached an agreement. They would compete fairly, based on ability. In the blink of an eye, Lin Shi's birthday was approaching. Qin Yu launched his attack, contacting all Lin Shi's friends, creating a dedicated group chat and inviting them to her birthday party. On the day of her birthday, Qin Yu drove to wait for Lin Shi after school, taking excellent care of Lin Shi's friends. This scene was seen by Zhan Han's roommate. But Zhan Han was clueless, still planning Lin Shi's birthday. Luckily, his roommate returned just in time to break the bad news. I just saw Lin Shi get into Qin Yu's car. You've been beaten to the punch. Only then did Zhan Han realize that Qin Yu had truly acted behind his back. On the other side, Qin Yu had booked the most luxurious spot in town to celebrate Lin Shi's birthday, while Zhan Han was on his way. At the dinner table, Xu Yan asked why Zhan Han wasn't there. Lin Shi said he didn't want to come. Unexpectedly, Huai Wu interjected, "It's not that he doesn't want to come. He wasn't invited." Just then, Qin Yu arrived. He settled things with one sentence. He got Lin Shi to stand up and told everyone, "Today is a special day for Lin Shi. She's also the most special person to me," and presented her with a bouquet of flowers. Zhan Han was frantically rushing over. Seeing the pictures Huai Wu sent on his phone, Zhan Han panicked. It was too late to get there in time, so he took out his laptop, trying to hijack the large screen at the venue, but failed. Just as Qin Yu was about to confess, Zhan Han's face appeared on the screen. He confessed, "I always thought I was very unlucky. I felt like I'd used up all my luck. My luckiest thing in life is meeting you. Thank you for changing my life." Everyone could see it. Zhan Han was confessing to Lin Shi on the big screen. Lin Shi listened to Zhan Han's words, remembering their beautiful past. Except for Qin Yu's lonely face, everyone in the room was moved to tears. Zhan Han asked Lin Shi to wait for him. After his confession, Lin Shi was biking to the venue. Just as everyone was looking at the screen and talking about it, Zhan Han collapsed. Lin Shi, fearing something had happened to Zhan Han, ran out to find him. Qin Yu quickly chased after them, but couldn't win back the girl he liked. Lin Shi anxiously searched everywhere for Zhan Han. Zhan Han finally arrived where Lin Shi was. Lin Shi asked him, "What do you want?" Zhan Han said, "I don't want you to be taken by someone else." Lin Shi, initially worried, became furious. "What do you want? Am I a trophy in your competition?" Zhan Han said, "I was just afraid of losing you." Lin Shi sadly said, "Please don't do this again. Don't make me the center of everyone's attention," as she turned to leave. Zhan Han was left behind in disappointment. Unexpectedly, Professor Shi actually met Lin Shi. Impressed by her mathematical talent, he especially invited Lin Shi to join their computer team. Lin Shi explained that she was from the economics department and knew nothing about computers, which might hold the team back. Professor Shi said, "But you're interested in math, and you have clear ideas for solving problems. You're a good talent for competitions." Lin Shi happily accepted. With everyone's help, Zhan Han successfully became Lin Shi's team captain. The next day, while Zhan Han and Lin Shi were chatting, Qin Yu rushed over, inviting Lin Shi to join his team. Unexpectedly, Lin Shi directly refused. "I've already agreed to join Zhan Han's team." This left Qin Yu heartbroken. In the library, Lin Shi was diligently taking notes and listening to Zhan Han talk. Their interactions quickly warmed up their feelings. After self-study, Qin Yu specifically waited for Lin Shi just to give her review materials so she could ace the upcoming exam. Unexpectedly, Lin Shi directly refused. "If I get study materials from your team, it might be unfair to others." Qin Yu could only laugh awkwardly, explaining it was a thoughtless move. What Qin Yu didn't expect was Lin Shi's next words. "Qin Yu, you taking care of me always makes me feel comfortable." That sentence broke through Qin Yu's last line of defense. Soon, the ACP computer competition qualifiers began. Lin Shi participated as a substitute. The campus queen from a nearby university wanted to see Zhan Han and came early to the event. During the competition, players from each team worked hard. The schedule was packed. In the final stage, Qin Yu's team was attacked by Chao Chen's team number 3. Qin Yu wanted to revise the program to prepare a counterattack. But Shi Ying refused, letting Zhan Han's team deal with Team 3. They formed a group to gain the benefit, and, at this point, Zhan Han's team also realized they had to choose the best solution as quickly as possible. They had to withstand the attacks of both teams, otherwise they would be eliminated. Duan Ning and Lin Shi were worried that Qin Yu's team would give up and let team number 3 take over. Zhan Han firmly believed Qin Yu would never give up. As the situation grew tense, Lin Shi panicked while solving a problem, and Zhan Han quickly comforted her. Qin Yu happened to see this. To keep Lin Shi on the school team, Qin Yu made the decision to fix the bug and prepare for the counterattack. Shi Ying was furious. It turned out that Shering had a crush on Chinyu, but Chinyu liked Lin Shi. Therefore, when she heard Chinyu's orders, Shering was furious. In the final 10 minutes, after fierce competition, each team finally achieved its goals. Jinhan's team won first place. Everyone cheered. Shering and each one walked away alone. Jinhan thanked Chinyu for his sportsmanship, and Chinyu left without saying much. Professor Shi came to congratulate them, hoping they'd celebrate that night. Jinhan said he wanted to go back to the dorm first. He affectionately ruffled Lin Shi's hair and happily left, leaving the two best friends to tease Lin Shi. The three girls teased Jinhan and Lin Shi on their way back. Lin Shi listened with a happy expression. Suddenly, Jinhan zoomed past on his motorcycle with Wenyu clinging to him, whistling as they passed many people. Lin Shi, initially happy, became angry and walked away. The next day, Jinhan tried to help Lin Shi carry things, but she ignored him. After arriving, Jinhan tried to talk to Lin Shi again, but Lin Shi was still angry and turned to find Xiaoman. Jinhan could only sigh helplessly. Then when you walked in, upon seeing Jinhan, she immediately hugged him. I haven't had time to introduce myself. I'm Wenyu, Jinhan's best friend. Wenyu suggested the two schools have a joint event. Chinyu agreed, thinking it was a good idea. At the party, Xiaoman used this as an excuse to leave, and Jinhan followed. He asked Xiaoman why Lin Shi was angry. Why do you keep calling me trash? Xiaoman angrily replied, you just confessed to our Lin Shi a second ago. And the next second you're on a motorcycle with another girl? Do you think we're blind? Only then did Jinhan realize where he'd gone wrong. Then, Jinhan went to find Lin Shi to explain. Unexpectedly, Lin Shi was drinking with Wenyu. Jinhan wanted to persuade her not to drink. Lin Shi told him not to worry about her business. But a moment later, Lin Shi felt unwell and rushed outside. Jinhan worriedly chased after her. Jinhan tried to explain quickly, but Lin Shi didn't want to listen. She voiced her frustrations, and Jinhan smiled, finally understanding. Lin Shi was jealous. Jinhan seriously told Lin Shi, when you and I really, there's nothing between us. She's just my neighbor. Hearing this, Lin Shi seemed mesmerized, staring at Jinhan. Do you know magic? When you touch me like that, my heart felt like it was going to jump out. Jinhan warned Lin Shi, you're not allowed to drink without me, or I'll worry. Jinhan was directly attacked, standing there dumbfounded. Lin Shi could only blush and run away. On top of the mountain, they talked and dreamed about the future. Finally, under the beautiful night sky, they confirmed their sweet relationship. Meanwhile, after Shi Ying returned to the dorm, she deliberately chatted with Zhuang Fei. If you really like Jinhan, you should do something to let him see it. Don't let him ignore your kindness. After hearing this, Zhuang Fei thought she and Jinhan were truly destined. After Shi Ying's pep talk, Zhuang Fei immediately felt motivated to pursue Jinhan. Early the next morning, Zhuang Fei waited for Jinhan outside his dorm, bringing him hangover soup she made herself. Jinhan said he didn't drink and directly refused. Who would have thought Lin Shi would come out of Jinhan's dorm? Zhuang Fei, heartbroken, awkwardly left, and both Jinhan and Lin Shi felt embarrassed. Later, they played dragonfly catching together, sweetly embracing. While they were having fun, Chen Yixian unexpectedly showed up and caught them, and they quickly separated in fright. Back in the city, Lin Shi and Jinhan went to see a movie. Halfway through, Lin Shi looked at the screen at the lovers' loving gazes and felt restless and shy. Jinhan said he wanted to talk to Lin Shi. Then he leaned over and kissed Lin Shi. She shyly said, next time, no need to ask for permission. Back in the dorm, Lin Shi was quietly interacting with Jinhan. Zhuang Fei, in the upper bunk, was awakened. Zhuang Fei started accusing Lin Shi without a word. The next second, she slapped Lin Shi in the face. Shering got up and pretended to comfort Lin Shi, actually saying they had ganged up on Zhuang Fei. Lin Shi angrily retorted, causing Shi Ying to give up. The next day, Lin Shi didn't come to class because her face was red and swollen. Unexpectedly, she received a video call from her mother. Lin Shi's sharp-eyed mother could tell something was wrong with Lin Shi and began to ask why. Lin Shi could only say it was a conflict with a classmate. After hearing this, Lin Shi's mother decided Lin Shi had to move out of the dorm. The next day, with the help of Jinhan's senior brother, Lin Shi moved to a new place. Jinhan arrived just in time. Jinhan looked at Lin Shi's injured face. Who hit you? Lin Shi, afraid Jinhan would cause trouble, said she could handle it herself. Jinhan sadly said to Lin Shi, you're not alone, okay? Only when Lin Shi reassured him that she was okay did Jinhan completely relax. When his girlfriend, Lin Shi, learned from Professor Shi that Jinhan's computer was broken, a half-hour job turned into a day's work. Lin Shi used her scholarship money to buy Jinhan the most expensive computer. When Jinhan saw the computer, he thought the gift was too expensive and wanted Lin Shi to take it back. Lin Shi quickly threw away all the receipts, but she couldn't change Jean Han's mind. When Lin she said she wanted to throw away her computer, Jean Han finally dared to accept the valuable gift, even writing a special IOU. Lin she read it with a smile. Jean Han temporarily lent Lin she 20,000 renminbi, promising to repay it in 5 years with an extra 50,000 renminbi in interest. A wedding ring, a marriage certificate, and a property certificate. After reading it, Lin she shyly returned the IOU. He said it was a contract, everything, including the person and the money, belonged to Lin Shi. Lin Shi happily rewarded Jean Han with a kiss. Just as they were about to get closer again, there was a sudden knock on the door. It was Lin Shi's cousin, Yichuan. They hurriedly tidied up, and Jean Han quickly hid. Lin Shi wanted to erase any evidence of another person's presence. Yichuan was getting impatient when Lin Shi finally opened the door. After dealing with Yichuan, as Lin Shi was about to close the door, Yichuan, using his sixth sense, said Lin Shi seemed off, and he had to come in and see what was going on. After entering, Yichuan searched everywhere, but couldn't find anyone hiding. Yichuan didn't give up, sensing someone was hiding in the bedroom. Finally, Lin Shi couldn't resist his persistence, and Yichuan burst into the room. Ignoring Lin Shi's attempts to stop him, he frantically searched every corner of the room. Finding nothing, he reluctantly left. Lin Shi quickly searched for the missing Jean Han. Unexpectedly, Jean Han was actually hiding on the roof. They sat on the sofa, shocked, thinking this secret relationship was too cruel. The next day, Jean Han and Lin Shi were studying for a competition. Qin Yu came to find Lin Shi with a gift, hoping she'd attend a costume party. Jean Han directly refused Qin Yu's invitation, but Qin Yu ignored him. He wanted Lin Shi to participate in more extracurricular activities to help fill in some missing parts of her profile. Jean Han, the real boyfriend, directly asserted his claim, but Qin Yu wouldn't give up. Just as the two heartthrobs confronted each other, Wen Yu came downstairs with a megaphone, calling for Jean Han. Jean Han told Lin Shi he would definitely clarify things with Wen Yu. When Jean Han left, Qin Yu and Lin Shi played a little romantic game. Lin Shi said she had never forgotten Qin Yu's kindness. Unexpectedly, Qin Yu said, "I hope that starting from the next second, you'll see me as a member of the opposite sex who likes you, and you can consider my identity again." Before Lin Shi could explain, Qin Yu said he hoped to see Lin Shi wearing the princess dress he personally chose for her at the costume party. On the other hand, Jean Han directly told Wen Yu, "I have a girlfriend. What you're doing is causing her misunderstandings. Don't come again." He left, leaving Wen Yu sadly behind. After Jean Han returned, he saw Lin Shi looking at the dress, deep in thought. He told her he'd set a boundary with Wen Yu, then asked if she and Qin Yu had made things clear. Lin Shi said their families had been friends since childhood, so it wasn't easy to be too firm. Jean Han sadly said, "Anyway, being with me always seems difficult for you," and left without looking back. The costume party was approaching. Xiaoman helped Yichuan make a handmade rabbit costume. Yichuan specifically waited for Shiying, wanted to ask her to be his dance partner, and gave her a Snoopy necklace. On the day of the party, Qin Yu waited for Lin Shi downstairs. Unexpectedly, Lin Shi directly refused Qin Yu's gift. She told him, "I'm already with Jean Han, so I don't have a choice and can't go with you like this." Qin Yu tried again, asking Lin Shi if Jean Han wasn't around, "Would you be with me now?" Lin Shi directly cut off all Qin Yu's assumptions and fantasies, then left. At the costume party, Yichuan was anxiously waiting for his dance partner. At that moment, Xiaoman came out, giving Yichuan a handmade gift and asking if he had a gift for her. Yichuan said the gift was for his dance partner. Shiying came out, and Yichuan quickly rushed over. When Xiaoman saw the necklace around Shiying's neck, she realized she had been played. She had the highest score, but she was still a greenhorn. Her boyfriend didn't respond, so she snuck in the boys' dorm, seeing her boyfriend diligently working, feeling she hadn't chosen the wrong person. While Jean Han was drinking water, he saw Lin Shi next to him and quickly stood up and greeted her, forgetting he was only wearing shorts. After Lin Shi saw this, she shyly turned away. Jean Han quickly put on his pants to cover up his embarrassment. Lin Shi asked about the boys' dorm. "Is there anything you can't see?" Jean Han said no, and they looked deeply at each other. As they were about to get closer, Yichuan barged in again. They were so startled, they almost lost their minds, quickly explaining themselves. Yichuan anxiously asked about Xiaoman. Lin Shi said, "Didn't Xiaoman come find you?" Yichuan said Xiaoman and Duan Ning had run away. He was worried Xiaoman would be bullied and asked them to find Xiaoman, but Lin Shi wouldn't. Yichuan threatened them. "You two aren't going? If you don't go, I'll tell my aunt about you two." They explained that their relationship was purely platonic. "Oh, stop acting. I saw you two downstairs." Their relationship was revealed, and Jean Han was forced to follow Yichuan. Waiting with him downstairs for Xiaoman, Yichuan sadly walked away, worried that Xiaoman had really left him. Jean Han couldn't stand it, and asked Ichuan why he was so worried about Xiaoman. Ichuan said without thinking, "Because we're classmates." Zhenhan had nothing to say, but seeing Ichuan's distressed expression, Zhenhan decided to help. Did he like Xiaoman? The diagnosis was correct. He liked girls and couldn't hesitate. He was anxious but couldn't lose face. Otherwise, the girl would belong to someone else. His college entrance exam score was low, but he won first place in the national ACP competition. After the competition, Lin Shi and Zhenhan were talking about the celebration party. Lin Shi's roommate, Xiaoyan, happened to see them and wanted to invite them to dinner. Xiaoyan's boyfriend had seen that Zhenhan won first place and wanted to use this to win him over. At dinner, Zhili happily congratulated Zhenhan and Lin Shi. Zhenhan hadn't even had a chance to eat when Zhili began praising Zhenhan, saying he'd seen all the projects Zhenhan had done. If his ideas could be turned into real products, he couldn't even imagine how much they would be worth in the future. Zhenhan felt embarrassed, and Lin Shi looked at Zhenhan with admiring eyes. This was supposed to be a simple dinner, but unexpectedly, Zhili wanted to poach Zhenhan. So Zhenhan was invited to take Lin Shi to France during the summer break. The girl would be responsible for shopping. The boy would talk about future work. Zhenhan couldn't stand it, so he went to the restroom. Lin Shi, not wanting to embarrass Zhenhan, went out to pay first. At this time, Xiaoyan also rushed out, saying Zhili should pay. Unexpectedly, the waiter said the bill for their room had already been paid, so they both decided it was fine. At this time, Zhenhan returned, saying he had something to do and left first and had paid. He also had no intention of joining Zhili's company. He had his own plans. He took Lin Shi away. On the way back, Lin Shi thought Zhenhan was angry and said she would transfer the money to him. Zhenhan felt very guilty and sadly told Lin Shi, "Because of you, I'll be a kept man. I'll work hard." Hearing Zhenhan's words, Lin Shi's heart immediately cleared. They walked away with smiles on their faces. Zhenhan suddenly received a call and left. It turned out Wenyu hadn't given up and was inviting Zhenhan to confess again. Zhenhan didn't give her a chance and rejected her without hesitation. At the celebration party, Zhenhan and Wenyu arrived late. As soon as Wenyu arrived, she called a waiter, then took a glass of wine to find Lin Shi. "I just agreed with Zhenhan that we'll be brother and sister and drink it all down." After finishing her drink, she returned to her seat and announced that she would be going abroad next month and was treating everyone to this meal. This would be her farewell party. Zhenhan didn't look, telling Wenyu to stop drinking, but Wenyu didn't listen, ready to pour another glass. Luckily, Huaiwu stopped her, knowing it would be boring to stay. Wenyu turned to leave, Huaiwu, feeling uneasy, quickly chased after her. When Huaiwu took her back on his bicycle, Wenyu couldn't bear it, and tears fell down her face. When everyone went outside, Xiaoman was caught between two grown men, embarrassed and helpless. To ease the embarrassment, Duan Ning said he wanted to go shopping with Xiaoman, and then took her hand and left. Ichuan wasn't happy and quickly pulled their hand apart. Duan Ning, relying on his male intuition, knew Ichuan liked Xiaoman and pulled him aside. "Do you like Xiaoman? If you do, we can compete fairly." Ichuan silently fell into thought without responding, but Xiaoman was eagerly awaiting an answer. When Duan Ning asked again, Ichuan hesitantly said, "How could I like Xiaoman? If I liked her, we would have been together long ago." Xiaoman, heartbroken, agreed to be Duan Ning's girlfriend in front of Ichuan. Then they left. Ichuan was left behind with an unbelievable expression. Soon, winter vacation arrived. Zhenhan reluctantly left Lin Shi. She said they could secretly meet. Ichuan really couldn't stand the two of them and wanted to drag Lin Shi away. Unexpectedly, he was attacked by the two of them instead. When they returned home, Lin Shi's father saw his daughter and was very happy. At this time, Lin Shi's mother said there was a distinguished guest at home and Lin Shi had to perform well. After entering the house and meeting Qin Yu's family, Lin Shi immediately understood this was a Hongmin banquet. While everyone chatted, Lin Shi wanted to escape, but her mother stopped her. As soon as Lin Shi approached, Qin Yu's parents paired her and Qin Yu together, saying they looked like a couple. Lin Shi was so embarrassed she couldn't sit still. Seeing her father arrive, Lin Shi quickly asked for his help. Her father, also a wise man, and with a few words, Lin Shi was taken away. At dinner, Lin Shi's mother praised Qin Yu's father, but Qin Yu's mother interrupted. She said that from now on, the two families would be one family and didn't need to be so divided. Qin Yu's father agreed. The two children grew up together and understood each other very well. It was time to develop their relationship. Listening to the conversation, Lin Shi felt helpless and left with an excuse. In the kitchen, Lin Shi complained to her father why her mother never respected her feelings. Lin Shi's father helplessly comforted her. "I'll support you mentally, but I can only support your mother with actions. This stage doesn't necessarily have to succeed, right? Just go out and cooperate." So Lin Shi wouldn't collapse. As soon as they sat down, Qin Yu's father suggested that since Qin Yu and Lin Shi grew up together and had a good emotional foundation, they could follow the trend and get married while still unemployed. Ignoring Lin Shi's wishes, Lin Shi's mother happily agreed to Qin Yu's father's proposal. Seeing the opportunity, Qin Yu affectionately confessed to Lin Shi. Lin Shi couldn't take it anymore and said directly to Qin Yu in front of everyone, "You're the brother I grew up with. I'll cherish our friendship and hope you will too." Qin Yu. Lin Shi's mother thought something was wrong and quickly explained. Lin Shi is heartbroken and unstable. She can only save herself. First, she used her chopsticks to hit her bowl, then directly took a chicken wing, eating without caring about her image. Qin Yu's mother thought Lin Shi was ungrateful. She asked Lin Shi's mother what Lin Shi's hobbies and interests were. Before Lin Shi's mother could speak, Lin Shi said, "Mom, I really have to thank you. If you hadn't been so strict, I wouldn't be who I am today." I raised this toast and drank a large gulp of red wine. Then, turning over her glass, said the red wine wasn't good and they should buy something else, then left without looking back. After dinner, Qin Yu's mother directly denied Lin Shi as their future daughter-in-law in front of Qin Yu. Qin Yu's father said it was fine if she didn't become their daughter-in-law. But this alliance couldn't be abandoned because their company currently needed Lin Shi's mother's financial backing. But Qin Yu said he really liked Lin Shi. Qin Yu's father said, "Let's wait until the company's situation becomes clearer." Lin Shi left the house and walked alone on the deserted street. Feeling sad, she received a call from Jinhan. Lin Shi said she wanted to see him, and they quickly met. Lin Shi told Jinhan everything that happened. Knowing Lin, she must have suffered a lot of injustice. Jinhan decided to take her out for a celebratory meal. When they arrived, Lin Shi realized Jinhan had tricked her. When they got home, Jinhan's parents were very happy to meet Lin Shi. His mother kindly asked Lin Shi, "Because I know you like eggplant, cabbage, tilapia, carrots, and cabbage and sweet tomatoes, right? And you don't like Coca-Cola, you like milk, right?" Witnessing such warm hospitality, Lin Shi was very moved. She was also afraid of doing something wrong on her first visit to Jinhan's house. Jinhan said, "Just be yourself." So, the family had a happy New Year's Eve dinner together. After dinner, to show her love for Lin Shi, Jinhan's mother gave her a family heirloom. But Lin Shi felt it wasn't the right time to receive such an expensive gift and refused. Jinhan's mother enthusiastically held Lin Shi's hand. "Lin Shi, we all really like you. Come over often from now on. If you want to eat anything, just tell Jinhan, and I'll make it." She also taught Lin Shi how to make bubble tea. Lin Shi was completely moved. Soon it was time to say goodbye. Jinhan escorted Lin Shi home. They were reluctant to part and embraced each other on the deserted street. With her parents away, Lin Shi secretly brought her boyfriend home. Just as they were about to get intimate, her father unexpectedly returned. Frightened, Lin Shi quickly hid her boyfriend. Her father was about to eat after entering the house when he noticed an extra men's jacket. He examined the jacket for a long time, dismissing various speculations. Lin Shi quickly explained that the jacket had been there before she came home. Her father was silent after hearing this, sadly saying to Lin Shi, "These clothes aren't mine. They were here before you came back. There's only one possibility. Your mother has someone else." Lin Shi saw things going the wrong direction, and her father was too sad to overcome it. Jinhan came out and said to Lin Shi's father, "Sir, this is my jacket." "Sir, my name is Jinhan, and I'm Lin Shi's boyfriend." After hearing this, Lin Shi's father realized he had misunderstood. To test if his future son-in-law was qualified, Lin Shi's father had Jinhan sit on a small horse, ready to test him. Asked about his dating experience, Jinhan proudly replied, "Lin Shi is my first girlfriend, and also my last." Lin Shi's father was very pleased after hearing this. At this time, Jinhan saw the chess pieces on the table and explained the rules of chess movement using programming. Lin Shi's father was dumbfounded. Lin Shi's father then invited Jinhan to play a game. Thinking he could easily defeat Jinhan, he was unexpectedly defeated. Seeing her father's unwillingness to lose face, Lin Shi let Jinhan concede to her father. "If you intentionally win now, it would seem hypocritical and useless. What do you think?" Lin Shi's father was riding a tiger and couldn't get off, reluctantly saying he liked good kids. Jinhan praised, "I just watched you play chess, your attack and defense. You dare to sacrifice a pawn to capture the general." Lin Shi's father was overjoyed. Lin Shi's father then asked Jinhan about his family background. Jinhan didn't hide anything. Lin Shi's father shook his head after hearing this, saying to Jinhan, "The revolution hasn't succeeded yet. Comrades still need to work harder." After hearing Jinhan say he would work hard, he smiled happily. Before Jinhan left, Lin Shi's father added him on WeChat. After Jinhan saw Lin Shi's father's name, a wave of rainbow farts came, blowing so hard that Lin Shi's father's face turned red. After Lin Shi's father and son saw Jinhan off, Lin Shi's father praised Jinhan as a good boy. Lin Shi was very happy and asked her father not to tell her mother about this, and Lin Shi's father readily agreed. At this time, Lin Shi's father received a call from Lin Shi's mother, and they heard her roar over the phone. It turned out she had learned that Lin Shi had failed a subject and was furious and was coming to deal with her. This father-daughter pair are in trouble now. On the other hand, Zhen Han was called to his internship and had to return to school before the end of the holiday. At home, Lin Shi and her mother were having a huge fight. Her mother blamed Lin Shi's relationship with Zhen Han for her declining grades. She kept emphasizing that Qin Yu was a better choice, talking about the prearranged marriage between the two families, which made Lin Shi very angry. She locked herself in her room, calling Zhen Han, only to find out he had already returned to the dorm. She said she had sent some gifts to his parents and said goodbye. Today was Zhen Han's first day of his internship, but his superior showed obvious contempt for interns, not giving him the meeting materials. During the new software launch meeting, Director Xie asked the employees for their opinions. Everyone bowed their heads and praised the software, not daring to speak the truth. His superior said they could end the meeting, but Director Xie wasn't ready. He looked at Zhen Han and asked, "Can you see any flaws in that software?" Although Zhen Han didn't have the materials, based on his experience, he pointed out a serious error in the new software, embarrassing his superior. Director Xie was very pleased with Zhen Han's performance. After the meeting, Ji Li, who also worked there, saw Zhen Han and tried again to lure him to his company. But Zhen Han wasn't interested. Director Xie called him into his office and pointed out a mistake in another software he designed. Zhen Han said he would fix it. Next, Director Xie asked if he could prove that their new software had vulnerabilities. In less than half an hour, he hacked into the software, making the director both admire and feel helpless towards his employees. The holiday ended quickly. Lin Shi returned to school to meet Xiao Yin and Xiao Man, but didn't tell Zhen Han. She asked Yichuan and her squinty-eyed friend to help move her things. Yichuan started complaining as soon as he started working, so the two sisters started arguing. At the gathering, everyone was there except Lin Shi. Huai Wu deliberately asked Zhen Han if he knew when Lin Shi was coming. Zhen Han said she was coming tomorrow. Yichuan said that Zhen Han loved Lin Shi and had done countless romantic things, showing everyone his online poetry exchange with Lin Shi's father, making everyone laugh. Lin Shi was already behind Zhen Han, signaling everyone not to speak. They then asked Zhen Han about Lin Shi's strengths and weaknesses. He said she had as many weaknesses as stars in the sky, but her strengths were like the sun, instantly overshadowing her flaws. Everyone shouted that he was being cheesy. Lin Shi happily blindfolded him as a surprise. Zhen Han guessed it was her, smiled, and held her hand. Everyone teased him, asking if he knew who he was holding hands with. Zhen Han confirmed he could even kiss her, making everyone envious. After the party, Lin Shi took Zhen Han to a place but made him blindfold himself. It turned out she had taken him to the apartment she had rented near his internship company and had moved all his belongings from his hometown there. Zhen Han was very moved. He went to hug Lin Shi from behind to thank her. After a sweet moment, Zhen Han pushed Lin Shi onto the bed. He asked if he could repay her with his body. Lin Shi didn't answer but closed her eyes, waiting for his kiss. Seeing her tension, Zhen Han stopped. Respecting Lin Shi's feelings, he let her rest and went to take a shower. After showering, he gave her his pay card, saying she could use it for whatever she wanted. Lin Shi didn't want to accept it, but Zhen Han said it was a token of his affection. At the same time, Duan Ning brought Xiao Man her favorite food. Xiao Man liked it but looked embarrassed. Finally, she mustered up the courage to break up with him. Duan Ning, who already knew this, wasn't shocked. He knew she wanted to make Yichuan jealous, so they had staged this play. Xiao Man happily continued eating, unaware that Duan Ning's feelings for her were real. Ji Li went to Qin Yu's office, announcing that he would cooperate with and support Qin Yu's family company. But of course, there were conditions. Ji Li took a USB drive containing the software Zhen Han was programming for Yiwei Company. He told Qin Yu to finish it and release it ahead of schedule to frame Zhen Han for leaking company information, causing him to be fired. Qin Yu initially felt this was too much, but Ji Li told him there were no feelings in business, making Qin Yu hesitate. Zhen Han and Lin Shi were still unaware of the impending storm and happily strolled together. In today's shareholder meeting, Director Xie was presiding when the secretary rushed in with bad news. Articles revealing information about the software Zhen Han was in charge of had flooded the internet. Zhen Han was immediately called back to the company. But in the meeting, besides Director Xie, no one wanted to hear his explanation, blaming him for everything. Director Chao even took the opportunity to humiliate Zhen Han. After the meeting, he met Zhen Han privately, tempting him to reveal Director Xie's secret relationship. If he did, he would ensure he wouldn't be fired. But Zhen Han was a man of integrity and refused to be bought by his petty schemes, making him furious. Conversely, Director Xie resigned because of Jinhan. On the other side, Lin, she was in a meeting room when a senior brother frantically ran in, asking if she knew where Jinhan was. Feeling suspicious, Lin, she pressed him. From him, she learned that Jinhan was facing trouble at the company. Articles accusing Jinhan of stealing information were flooding the internet, and the company couldn't stop it. However, Jinhan's troubles weren't over. After reading the news, Lin Shi's mother immediately called, demanding she break up with him. She said he was a person of poor character and that Lin Shi shouldn't be with him. But Lin Shi firmly believed in Jinhan. Her mother then said she would cut off her allowance. They all focused on finding the IP address and database. Lin Shi and Xiao Man brought food to support them. With Lin Shi's support, Jinhan felt much stronger. After thorough investigation, he seemed to have found something. That day, Lin Shi went to the supermarket and bought a lot of groceries. But when she went to pay, her card was blocked. After checking, she found out her mother had blocked all her bank cards. Thinking of the pay card Jinhan gave her, Lin Shi was reluctant to use it, so she went to find a part-time job. Lin Shi applied to be a teacher at a high school education center where Zhuang Fei also taught. As soon as she saw Lin Shi, Zhuang Fei unhappily asked if she had come to laugh at her. But Lin Shi only said she needed money. Lin Shi's class had a rebellious male student. During class, he refused to listen and took many pictures of Lin Shi. Since she started working, she was always busy, even bringing work home. Jinhan was worried and asked if something was wrong at school. But Lin Shi hid the fact that she had a part-time job, saying there was a problem with the group project. No matter how much he urged her to sleep, she wouldn't. The next morning, Lin Shi went to the center, and the mother of the male student came to scold her. She brazenly said her son was studying, but his phone was full of Lin Shi's pictures and asked Lin Shi if she was teaching or seducing students. Lin Shi didn't want to argue with this unreasonable mother. But seeing Lin Shi's indifferent attitude, the mother became even more aggressive, pouring coffee on Lin Shi's white shirt. People gathered around to gossip, including Zhuang Fei. Zhuang Fei asked if she wasn't taking a break after such a blow. Lin Shi said she needed money and it wasn't embarrassing, so she would continue working. When Jinhan called to ask where Lin Shi was, she still lied that she was working on a school project, unaware that he knew everything. But Lin Shi still hid everything from Jinhan. So, as soon as she got home, he silently hugged her. Jinhan looked sadly at Lin Shi's suffering. He promised her that he would definitely buy her all the delicious food she wanted in the future. Jinhan went to see Director Xie. He told him that he had traced the IP address to Qinyu, who was his friend. Director Xie invited him on a business trip to continue investigating. As Jinhan agreed, Lin Shi's mother called to meet him. They met in a cafe. Lin Shi's mother told him to break up with Lin Shi because she didn't see a future for them. But Jinhan didn't want to. He wanted to use time to prove himself to her. Of course, Lin Shi's mother didn't believe him and insisted he break up, which also caused Jinhan some distress. That night, Jinhan returned and told Lin Shi he was going on a business trip for a few days. Noticing something strange, she was very worried, but he reassured her that he would be back soon. However, after Jinhan left, Lin Shi couldn't focus on anything. Even in class, Xiao Man noticed her distraction. Just then, the squinty-eyed friend called, saying the lawsuit against Yi Company and Jinhan had been posted online. He was crying because of the many comments scolding Jinhan. The comments were numerous and harsh. Lin Shi read them anxiously, worried Jinhan would see them. So, they wanted to quickly find the IP addresses of the posters. With each one's help, they learned that 70% of the online comments were from virtual IPs, only 30% from real users. Therefore, Lin Shi decided to use her own name to post an analysis of Jinhan's situation on the school forum. Unexpectedly, her clarifying post was widely shared. Seeing that Jinhan's side might turn things around, Zhili ordered Qinyu to delete Lin Shi's post, but Qinyu hesitated. He thought of Jinhan's words about wanting to become a righteous person and decided not to hack her account to delete the post. On the other hand, Lin Shi's father called to tell her that her mother had met with Jinhan to force them to break up. He also told her that their path would be thorny, but he would always support her. Lin Shi was both sad and moved to tears. That night, Jinhan didn't come home, and she dreamt he wanted to break up with her. Waking up in a fright, Lin Shi huddled on the chair, fearing something bad would happen. Just then, Jinhan returned from his business trip. Seeing her boyfriend, she ran to hug him. Lin Shi cried, saying she knew her mother had gone to see Jinhan. She was afraid that because of her mother's words, he would leave her again. Jinhan comforted her, saying he would never abandon her, no matter what her mother said. Jinhan also said he knew Lin Shi was working part-time and that he was worried she was suffering. But Lin Shi said she wanted to spend money she earned herself and wouldn't quit her job. Jinhan agreed with her. They pinky swore to be together forever. At 8 o'clock, Jinhan showed Lin Shi the new article online. Eway Company had issued a statement correcting the information leak, and Zhen Han was cleared of all charges. Lin Shi happily asked how he had turned the situation around. It turned out that a few days earlier, Zhen Han and director Xie had gone to find the latter's junior. They helped Zhen Han find the IP addresses of the posters, proving his innocence. After the storm passed, Zhen Han took Lin Shi to the tutoring center. Zhuang Fei was waiting for her there with coffee. Perhaps after everything, Zhuang Fei had been won over by Lin Shi. On the other hand, Yichuan was still secretly following Xiao Man leaving the library. He saw Duan Ning flirting with another girl. Thinking Duan Ning was cheating on Xiao Man, he angrily confronted him. But Duan Ning said he and Xiao Man weren't dating. They almost fought when Xiao Man appeared and yelled at them to stop. Lin Shi and Zhen Han had to intervene. After learning that Xiao Man and Duan Ning were nothing, Lin Shi told her to continue with the gentle approach. Meanwhile, Zhen Han persuaded Yichuan to confess his feelings to Xiao Man, so she could know his heart. Yichuan took this to heart and went to the dorm to find Xiao Man that night. He not only brought her foot-soaking herbal medicine, but also gave her a porcelain rabbit he had made himself. Although moved, Xiao Man wanted to play hard to get, coldly rejected him. Yichuan didn't give up. He loudly confessed to Xiao Man under her dorm window. For a proud person like Yichuan to throw away his dignity and confess in public, it was a huge effort. Xiao Man, hearing his sincere words, was moved. She ran downstairs, telling him to stop shouting, then accepted his gift and confession. They became a sweet young couple. On the other hand, Lin Shi happily told Zhen Han that her mother had sent her allowance back. She also said her parents wanted her to quit her job and focus on her studies. Zhen Han was a little pensive. Just then, a famous company called, wanted to hire him. But Zhen Han immediately rejected them, surprising Lin Shi. It turned out he wanted to start his own company. Lin Shi worried this path would be difficult, but seeing her boyfriend's determination, she supported him. The next day, Zhen Han and his university friends went to see their new office. These people were the first employees of the company Zhen Han founded. Everyone was willing to help him. But Zhen Han asked Xiao Yin if she was worried about Ji Li working there since they were dating. Xiao Yin said it was her decision and it wouldn't affect anything. Their company finally went public. While everyone was working hard, something happened online. Xiao Yin rushed in to announce that the information of 5,000 customers had been leaked while using their software. The customer data leak caused major trouble for Zhen Han's company. After analyzing the IP addresses, Zhen Han discovered it was a ploy by a competitor to sabotage his company. That night, while the whole company was working together, Zhen Han stood up and announced the company's difficult situation, saying he wanted to disband the team and had prepared everyone's salary. Everyone was extremely unhappy. Yichuan grabbed his collar and questioned him, asking if he really wanted to do this. After everyone left, Lin Shi stayed behind to encourage Zhen Han. Even if she couldn't save the world or the company, she could save him. Moreover, everyone didn't want to abandon Zhen Han at this moment. Thanks to Lin Shi's encouragement, Zhen Han regained his confidence. That day, Zhen Han went to CEO Wang's company alone, but the secretary wouldn't let him in without an appointment. Zhen Han didn't give up and went directly to CEO Wang's office. Using his skills, he bypassed the security system and entered. CEO Wang was very surprised to see him. But after hearing Zhen Han's presentation about his company's software and the reason he had to break in, he saw his potential. Zhen Han successfully secured investment and an invitation to the trade fair. At this time, everyone in the company decided to contribute their own money to help Zhen Han. He was very moved and happily announced to them that he had successfully secured investment and had the opportunity to participate in the trade fair. Everyone, from surprised, turned to joyfully hugging each other. Their future path was saved. After confirming their relationship, Yichuan and Xiao Man became a very sweet couple. On the other hand, Lin Shi knew she was leaving soon, so she prepared a lot of things for Zhen Han at home. Zhen Han felt she was like a nagging wife and teased her, unaware of anything. The next day, Lin Shi went to the office to apply for her visa. After finishing, she returned to the dorm and overheard Xiao Man and Xiao Yin worrying about her trip abroad. Lin Shi went in and said her mother wouldn't change her mind. Xiao Man and Xiao Yin still said she should tell Zhen Han early. That day at the company, she told him that the investment money was a loan from her father's private funds, so he shouldn't worry. Just as she was about to talk about going abroad, an employee rushed in and interrupted because Zhen Han was needed. That evening, Zhen Han asked about the unfinished conversation from the afternoon, but Lin Shi changed the topic to knitting socks for him. But Zhen Han guessed it wasn't that simple. He asked her if her father secretly taking the money had been discovered by her mother. Lin Shi hesitantly admitted it, but also said her mother had agreed, so he shouldn't worry. As the launch day approached, everyone in the company worked harder. Lin Shi stood in front of the wishing board, wanting to try Zhen Han's wish. Unexpectedly, he appeared at that moment. He turned over the note. revealing his confession to her. Lin Shi, having to hide things from Junhan, was in tears. He thought she was too emotional, saying this wasn't a formal proposal yet. As Junhan comforted Lin Shi, the squinty-eyed friend came in and interrupted. Today was the day Junhan's company launched its investment appeal, and also the day Lin Shi had to leave. She hadn't told him yet. After preparing to see Junhan off, she silently bid farewell to the room. At the presentation, many companies participated. Each one asked Junhan why Lin Shi hadn't arrived. He was very anxious, but Lin Shi had promised to come, so she wouldn't break her word. A while later, she appeared. Lin Shi cheered Junhan on, giving him strength. During his presentation, he completely convinced the investors. But ill-wishers, full of envy, stood up and accused his company's software of leaking customer information. Junhan had anticipated this and released a chat log, proving that the people whose information was leaked had been bribed to spread it. This time, his company's software was definitely highly regarded. Lin Shi sat below, watching Junhan with proud eyes. As the contract was successfully signed, she left for the airport without saying goodbye. Junhan was bewildered and frantically searched for Lin Shi. Only then did everyone tell him that Lin Shi had used her mother's money to help him and was about to go abroad. Junhan rushed to the airport and luckily arrived just in time before Lin Shi checked in. They hugged each other in tears. Junhan said that if she really wanted to go, he would wait for her. At this time, Lin Shi's mother also appeared, urging her to check in. They parted, but in their hearts, they still carried hopes for a bright future. Junhan's company finally stabilized and developed. Today was the day Lin Shi returned. But she didn't inform him and went straight to the company. Junhan was on his way to the elevator, calling her, when he heard a familiar ringtone nearby. Lin Shi was standing in front of him. Junhan ran to hug her in overflowing happiness. Then, he took her to his office, where they met Wenyu and Huai Wu. Learning that they were dating, Lin Shi was surprised and amused. On the other hand, Xiao Man also had good news. Seeing Lin Shi back, each one came to share the good news with her. He said Junhan should quickly move forward with his relationship with Lin Shi. So, the next day, Junhan went with Lin Shi to her house to ask her parents for her hand in marriage. Lin Shi worried that her mother would make things difficult for Junhan and told him to be patient. But Junhan, determined to marry her, was confident he could persuade her mother. The meeting atmosphere was a little tense. Even Lin Shi's father didn't dare to relax. After confirming Junhan's sincerity towards her daughter, Lin Shi's mother warned him that if he made Lin Shi cry, she wouldn't let him off easily, and then gave him the house deed to register their marriage. Holding the marriage certificate, Lin Shi couldn't believe her eyes. Junhan then took out a necklace from his parents and gave it to Lin Shi. Lin Shi, beautiful in her radiant wedding dress, looked like she had stepped out of a fairy tale, stunning Junhan. Just as everyone was chatting, they met Xiao Yin. It turned out that the yacht was opened by her husband, Zhili. After making many mistakes in the past, he had changed and started over. Junhan had forgiven him for past events. Everyone chatted happily, but Lin Shi wondered who to invite as bridesmaids. Soon, the wedding day arrived. The wedding concept was their high school uniforms, with all the guests wearing them over their clothes. Huai Wu was the officiant, livening up the atmosphere. The wedding was going well when each one received a call from his company. He ran up to tell Junhan. Junhan's expression changed instantly. He rushed to interrupt Huai Wu, skipping other parts and going straight to the I do. After the bride and groom said I do, they each opened their laptops and started setting up equations. Luckily, they successfully defended the project, and Junhan breathed a sigh of relief and thanked Lin Shi. On their most important day, they were still like they had been many years ago, together through thick and thin. Junhan had once declared he would put all his assets, houses, and land in her name, and his bank account too, saying he only had her. This wasn't just talk, it came true on their wedding day. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel to support us.